With the debut of the Michael Weatherly starring Bull on CBS on September 20th, and the Keifer Sutherland starring Designated Survivor on ABC on September 21st, the boys, to quote Thin Lizzy, are back in town. Or certainly prime time. Former NCISer Weatherly has been gone for the least amount of time, having last been seen on the blockbuster procedural after a 13-year run on May 17th this year. Now back channeling Dr. Phil McGraw, whose pre-TV career as a trial consultant the McGraw EP'd series is somewhat based on, but also some Bill Clinton in his prime, and more than a little of Cracker's Robbie Coltrane. Weatherly's bespectacled Dr. Jason Bull is both cocky strut and piercing to a winning verdict point, and just a touch of a soft touch when no one is looking.
Dr. Jason Bull, can you help my son? Absolutely.
With stage-setting opening lines like, "Rich people don't have to play by the same rules," and a tech billionaire's more than mildly unpleasant seemingly son on the hook for murder, this slick walk-and-talk series runs hot on tech and social media matrix. Plus it has a lead with a high CBS viewer recognition value, and sometimes overly brash, but still near note-perfect analysis of the beats and rhythms of network procedurals in a landscape where Shonda Rhimes dominates. Which means, with its 9 p.m. slot between the new season of NCIS and NCIS New Orleans, Bull is going to have to try really hard not to be a hit.
Stop trying to figure people out. It's just a very lonely place.
I wish I could.
And while you might call BS on Bull if you were, say, I don't know, former Attorney General Eric Holder, the pilot's pace and drama are both a strong star vehicle and eminently watchable, with the added benefit of a weekly hook that is essentially an open sandbox and makes you, or at least me, like Dr. Phil a little bit more, proving that we're all a little innocent until proven guilty.
Mr. Secretary, you need to put the phone down. Mike, what the hell is going on?
I said put the phone down.
Of some kind of explosion.
Not seen on the small screen in a leading role since 2014's 24 Live Another Day event series, Sutherland is back as an about-to-be canned, also bespectacled, because they make you look smart, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, who becomes president when the Commander-in-Chief, the VP, the rest of the Cabinet, Congress, the Supreme Court, and the rest of the pillars of government are wiped out in a surprise attack on the Capitol. Part incredibly timely political fantasy of what if we could just start all over again, and part perhaps wrong man in the long knife's wrong place. The David Guggenheim created Natasha Melhone, Cale Penn, and Maggie Q co-starring and very heavily marketed Designated Survivor finds Sutherland's Tom Kirkman as no Jack Bauer, and in fact doubting his own fitness for office even more so than the surviving staff and generals do.
Did you know President Richmond fired him this morning? Now he's the president. Maybe he'll realize he has no business running the country?
But of course, that's the parlor trick, isn't it? A welcome relief from our current crop of overly confident and overly tough presidential candidates, Sutherland's horribly accidental president may be the last reasonable white guy to inhabit the White House for a while. Though in TV land, Tony Goldwyn's President Grant on Scandal and Keith Carradine's President Dalton on Madam Secretary are representing the demo rather nicely. But this being the very well-cast Sutherland, who's also an EP here, there are certainly sparks of steel and smarts that you know are waiting to be unsheathed for Kirkman. Because that's how you arc a season in the big league, kids. More importantly, perhaps, out of the way of Empire on Wednesdays and following Blackish, Designated Survivor seems to also indicate that it wants to use its 10 p.m. platform for larger discussions about America today, and what a new slate and perhaps some old problems that are still on the slate that are still really there really mean. And that's presidential ambition of our time worth watching, especially in this season of election. So the boys are back. Gentlemen, make your Bull and Designated Survivor bets, because I bet there's winnings to be had there. I'm Dominic Patton for Deadline Hollywood.